As the nation entered into the crisis of the Revolutionary War, Americans turned to God. Well, one of those miracles in American history is the cannons on Dorchester Heights. And so now the British, after the Battle of Bunker Hill in 1775, have taken over Boston. The British occupied Boston for 7 months since the Battle of Bunker Hill on June 17th. The British were blockading the harbor and starving the inhabitants. General George Washington sent 25-year-old Colonel Henry Knox on the near impossible mission to bring 59 cannons 300 miles from Fort Ticonderoga to Boston. Knox made sleds and dragged the cannons through the snow and across icy lakes and rivers. Some even fell through the ice and needed to be roped and pulled back out. An amazing feat. The cannons arrived on the night of March 4th of 1776. The wagon wheels were wrapped with straw to muffle the noise of their movement, and they were moved to a strategic point on Dorchester Heights overlooking Boston's harbor. The next morning, the British sailors were shocked to awaken and see themselves in such a vulnerable position with these cannons looking down upon them. Well, 2 days later, on March 6th of 1776, from his Cambridge headquarters, General Washington ordered Thursday the 7th being set apart by this province as a day of fasting, prayer, and humiliation to implore the Lord and giver of victory to pardon our manifold sins and wickedness, and that it would please him to bless the Continental Army with his divine favor and protection. All officers and soldiers are strictly enjoined to pay all due reverence and attention on that day to the sacred duties to the Lord of hosts, for his mercies already received, and for those blessings which our holiness and uprightness of life can alone encourage us to hope through his mercy to obtain. Well, 10 days later, as these cannons are staring down upon the British, on March 16th of 1776, the Continental Congress passed without dissent a resolution presented by General William Livingston declaring, Congress desires to have people of all ranks and degrees duly impressed with a sense of God's superintending providence and of their duty devoutly to rely on his aid and direction, do earnestly recommend a day of humiliation, fasting, and prayer, that we may with united heart confess and bewail our manifold sins and transgressions, and by sincere repentance and amendment of life, appease God's righteous displeasure, and through the merits and mediation of Jesus Christ, obtain pardon and forgiveness. They did say Jesus Christ. And you go back and read, these were all churchmen, and they would go to Episcopal churches and Presbyterian and Methodist and Baptist and Anglican and even Catholic. These were godly men. The day after the Continental Congress approved the prayer resolution, March 17th, 1776, the British loaded all their supplies on their ships and evacuated Boston. At the last minute, though, they attempted to land their 3,000 troops on the foothills of Dorchester Heights, and they were going to charge up. But a violent storm arose, causing the sea to be so turbulent that the British were not able to land. Boston was freed. General Washington described the British evacuation of Boston to his brother, John Augustine Washington, March 31st, 1776. Upon their discovery of the works the next morning, great preparations were made for attacking them. But not being ready before the afternoon and the weather getting very tempestuous, much blood was saved and a very important blow prevented. That this most remarkable interposition of providence is for some wise purpose, I have not a doubt.